To call this event tragic is an understatement. I'm the father of three little boys and my oldest son is 7, and the thought of losing any of them in this sort of way is something that's really hard to process. Not only am I most grieved for the parents that lost their beautiful, innocent children, but I'm also grieved to think about the kids who survived and witnessed it happen to their friends at school. The significance that this will have on their psychological development and how much this will affect how they see and understand the world going forward is super tragic in and of itself. Now, if these type of shootings become more and more common, we can't hide from the harsh reality that we have a serious problem in this country that needs to be fixed. Of course, the majority of the voices that we're going to be hearing from are going to be offering political solutions, and both sides of the political spectrum will no doubt be blaming the other side as being the real problem in some way. And of course, this event's going to be followed by a lot of people talking about the effectiveness of gun laws, but I also feel like it's worth taking a deeper look at some of the core issues that, at least to me, doesn't seem like they're being discussed nearly as much. As more details emerge, new reports are coming out that state how the suspect was an 18-year-old kid that was viciously bullied his entire life for his speech impediment. The Washington Post said, in middle school and junior high, Ramos was bullied for having a stutter and a strong lisp, friends and family said. Stephen Garcia, who considered himself Ramos's best friend in 8th grade, said Ramos didn't have it easy in school. He would get bullied hard, like bullied by a lot of people, Garcia said, over social media, over gaming, over everything. Now, of course, there's no possible excuse for what this kid did, but this does provide at least a partial explanation behind his motive. It shows that the old adage is true. Hurt people hurt people. Knowing more about this kid's past, it does seem clear that this kid felt a lot of pain in his life and he felt powerless. And as a response, he wanted to extend that pain to as many other people as he could. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to have a simple solution that will solve the deep and complex problems that drive these sorts of events. But I do think that there's something that's simple and practical that all of us can start doing. While both sides on the political spectrum will be viewing this tragedy through the lens of how the other side is the real problem in the world, as Christians, we shouldn't fall into that trap. Not only do I believe that this oversimplified view is naive, but I also believe that demonizing the other side isn't going to do anything to help right now. So while both of the political sides are going to rage and fight with each other and blame the other side for being the real problem in the world, as Christians, we can point to ourselves and say that the real root of the problem is the same thing that's within all of us. It's the same thing that promotes these selfish tendencies within us that persuade us to do things that are wrong. It's the thing that we as Christians call sin. So my thinking is this: one thing that we can do is not so much focus on changing the laws, but instead addressing the deeper issue and focus on changing our hearts. All of us, and especially those of us that are Christians, we should be more intentional about doing unto others as we would have done unto us, and to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And no, I don't believe that I'm being naive here, and I'm not trying to offer a platitude in place of a real solution. Of course, there will always be those who choose to do evil, but I don't think that we give enough thought to the radical and extreme way that Jesus told us to love others. When Jesus told us to love our enemies, that didn't mean for us to just love those who love us and those who are for us. Instead, our enemies are those who aren't for us and the ones that are against us. But even more extreme, when Jesus told us to love our enemies, that doesn't mean for us to simply not repay our enemies with revenge or to just simply forgive them for hurting us. It does mean that, but it also means more. It also means for us to positively love our enemies with our actions and to love them as much as we love ourselves. Now that's a tall order. But think about what this means for us practically. When we love others in that radical way that Jesus told us to, it can not only soften the heart of the person who's in pain, but it will also soften our hearts as well. So practically speaking, if you're currently experiencing pain from something that someone else has done to you, then that pain is only going to grow more and more the more that you focus on yourself and how hurt you are, rather than focusing on forgiving and radically loving your enemy. When we do this, this helps us not to retaliate by trying to extend our pain onto other people so that way we could feel better. Instead, over time, we actually find ourselves healthier and happier, and we're able to make the world a better place rather than making the world a worse place. So given this, even if it's just for today, I'd encourage all of us to just spend a lot more time today thinking about how we can love others better, especially those who are your enemies. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to solve everything, but in a culture that's increasingly treating Christianity and morality as if it's the major problem rather than a potential solution, I believe that we can actually help to show people that Christianity can make the world a better place, and we can actually make the world a better place for all of us to live in as well. Just something to think about.